Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We're unpacking cut laundry drying costs UK, save hundreds of pounds per year with weather today, and tying it back to the wider cost-saver ecosystem, including tools like cost-effective drying day planner, so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in, we are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Welcome back to the Cost Saver Podcast. Today, we're getting into something that I think, honestly, most of us just accept as a fact of life.
Oh, God, yeah. The tumble dryer bill?
You already know where I'm going with this.
I mean, it's the thing nobody thinks about until they actually look at the numbers. And then it's like, oh,
Right. So, we're talking about laundry drying costs specifically. And I guess the big question is how much are people actually spending on this?
so the headline figure is that the average UK household spends between 50 and 150 pounds a year just on drying clothes. Just drying. And that climbs pretty sharply in winter, which, makes sense because you're running the dryer more.
Okay, but $150 a year? I don't think I've ever mentally separated that out from the rest of my energy bill.
No, and that's the thing. It's one of those hidden drains. You see the big scary number on the bill, but you don't really break it down. Like if you're running your tumble dryer 3 times a week at current prices, that's $5 to $7 a week, which is 260 to $364 a year. And honestly, a lot of families run it way more than 3 times.
Wait, 364 pounds a year just from 3 loads a week? That's
Yeah, and that's conservative. A family of four doing 5 to 7 loads a week could be looking at 12 to 35 pounds a month, which works out to $144 to $420 a year, depending on timing and tariff and all that.
that is a lot.
It is. But the good news, and this is kind of the whole point of why we're here, is that you can cut a huge chunk of that. We're talking potentially saving 100 or more a year without, making your life miserable.
Okay, I'm listening. How?
So the big lever is weather, using weather forecasts and energy pricing patterns to plan when you do your laundry. There's a tool called the Cost-Effective Drying Day Planner that basically does the maths for you. It looks at weather conditions and energy prices and tells you the optimal times to dry.
So it's not just about, sticking your head out the door and going, looks sunny enough.
No, it's more, that's part of it, but it's about being strategic. Because the obvious thing is air drying, right? It costs literally nothing, zero electricity. But there's actually more to it than people realize.
Like what?
Well, for one, it massively extends the life of your clothes. All that lint you find in your dryer filter after every cycle,
Yeah?
that's literally your clothes wearing away. That's fabric fiber being broken down by the heat and the tumbling. Air dry clothes don't get any of that mechanical stress.
Oh, I never thought of it that way. So my favorite jumper would genuinely last longer?
Years longer potentially. And clothes dried outside smell fresher, and the sun's UV rays actually sanitize them, kills bacteria, helps with stubborn odors on workout clothes or kitchen towels. It's sort of a freebie bonus.
I hadn't thought about it like that. So what kind of savings are we actually talking about if someone switches?
So if a family's spending, say, 200 pounds a year on tumble drying and they switch to air drying for just half their loads, that's 100 pounds saved annually. Over a decade, that's 1,000 pounds.
1,000 pounds. That's a weekend away, that is.
Ha, exactly. But, and here's the catch, right? We live in Britain.
Right? It rains constantly.
It does rain quite a bit, yes. And drying indoors during damp weather, clothes can take 2 to 3 times longer. They can get that musty smell. And if your ventilation's poor, you're pumping moisture into your home. Condensation, mold, the whole thing.
Yeah, I've seen my windows absolutely streaming after drying clothes indoors. Not great.
Not great at all. So this is where the planner becomes really useful. It analyzes multiple weather factors, temperature, humidity, wind speed, precipitation probability, and gives you a drying efficiency score for each day.
A drying efficiency score. Go on.
So 80 or above, excellent. Get those clothes outside. 60 to 79, still good, but it'll take a bit longer. Below 60, you're probably better off drying indoors or just waiting for a better day. And it also shows you when energy prices are lowest, which matters if you end up needing the dryer.
So you could like wash on Tuesday evening when electricity's cheap, hang it out Wednesday morning if that's the best drying day?
Exactly that. And the whole thing takes maybe 5 minutes on a Sunday evening to plan your week. Does that make sense as a process?
It does, yeah. Now, you mentioned humidity and wind being important. I always just assumed warm and sunny was the thing to aim for, but
Yeah, so this is where it gets a bit counterintuitive. Humidity is probably the single most important factor. If the air's already saturated with moisture, like 90% humidity, your clothes just sit there, even if it's warm. But on a 40% humidity day, same clothes could dry in a few hours.
wait, really? So a spring day could actually be better than a summer day?
Absolutely. If it's a humid summer day, yeah, spring or autumn with low humidity can be better. And then wind. Wind is hugely underestimated. Moving air constantly replaces the humid air around your clothes with drier air. So a moderately windy day at 12 degrees C can genuinely beat a still day at 18 degrees.
That's wild. I would not have guessed that.
The ideal combo is above 15 degrees C, humidity below 60%, and a gentle breeze of 10 to 20 miles per hour. On a day like that, a full load dries outdoors in 3 to 4 hours. But yeah, it's not always about the temperature.
Okay, so when we can't get outside, which, let's be honest, is a lot of the time in autumn and winter, what's the best approach indoors without the mold situation?
Right. So first thing, pick the right room. You want good natural ventilation. Near a window is often ideal because you can crack it open and let moisture escape. South-facing rooms are great for the extra warmth and light. But try to avoid bedrooms if you can.
Because of the condensation thing?
Exactly. The moisture from wet clothes really pushes up humidity in a bedroom. You get condensation on the windows and, over time, mold in the corners. If you've got a bathroom with an extractor fan, that works for smaller loads. Or a spare room, utility area, anything you can dedicate to drying without it affecting where you actually live.
And what about radiators? Because I think everyone just drapes stuff over them, right?
Yeah, and don't do that. I mean, I get why people do, but it blocks the heat from circulating into the room, so your boiler works harder, it can create damp patches on the wall behind, and it's not great for the clothes either. What you want is a clothes area positioned about 30 to 50 centimeters away from the radiator, close enough to benefit from the warmth, but not blocking anything.
Near but not on. Got it. And dehumidifiers, are they actually worth the money for this?
Oh, absolutely. A good one costs around 100 to 200 pounds, and it only uses 200 to 500 watts. Compare that to a tumble dryer, which is, 2 to 4 kilowatt hours per load. Running a dehumidifier for 4 hours costs roughly 22p to 56p. A tumble dryer cycle is $1 or more, so it's a fraction of the cost, and it actually prevents the condensation problems too.
Oh, that's actually reassuring. I'd been putting off buying one, but that makes the maths pretty clear.
It really does. And while we're on equipment, the drying rack itself matters more than people think. You want at least 8 to 10 centimeters between bars for proper air circulation, sturdy construction for heavy wet towels and jeans, and heated airers are a brilliant middle ground. They use about 200 to 300 watts, so 5p to 8p an hour. A 4-hour session is 20p to 32p.
Versus a pound plus for the tumble dryer. Yeah, no contest.
No contest at all.
So, okay, I want to back up a bit because you mentioned something earlier that I think is really important. Can we save money at the washing machine stage too? Like before we even get to drying?
Yes, and this is the bit people miss. The drying process kind of starts in the washing machine, so always wash full loads. 2 half loads uses nearly twice the energy of 1 full load. And wash in cold water, Angela, 30 degrees. Modern detergents are designed for it.
I do try to use cold water, but how much difference does it actually make?
Heating the water accounts for approximately 90% of the energy used in a typical warm wash cycle.
90%?
90%. Yeah. And then spin speed, use the highest your clothes can tolerate. The difference between 1,000 RPM and 1,400 RPM means clothes come out 10 to 15% drier. That's less time and energy needed for drying. Just don't overload the machine, because then it can't spin properly and everything comes out wetter anyway.
Fair enough. False economy.
Exactly.
And if someone absolutely has to use a tumble dryer, what should they look for?
Heat pump dryers. They use about 50% less energy than traditional vented or condenser models by recycling the hot air. They're more expensive up front, sort of 400 to 800 versus 200 to 400, but they pay for themselves in 3 to 5 years if you're a regular user. Also, make sure sensor drying is turned on so it stops when clothes are actually dry, not just running on a timer. And dryer balls, wool or plastic, they can cut drying times by 10 to 25%.
I keep meaning to try dryer balls. Do you have any real-world examples of someone actually doing all this? Because the numbers are great, but I want to know if it works in practice.
Yeah, so there was Sarah Thompson from Bristol, family of 4. She was running her tumble dryer about 6 times a week, costing around 25 pounds a month. She started using the planner, shifted her main laundry days to Tuesdays and Thursdays when the weather was typically best in spring, and invested $80 in a heated airer for the bad days.
Okay, and what happened?
After 3 months, her drying costs dropped to about $8 a month, annual saving of around $200. The heated airer paid for itself in 5 months, and she noticed her clothes lasting longer too. She reckoned that was another $50 to $100 a year in reduced clothing replacement.
That's genuinely impressive. $200 a year plus the clothes lasting longer?
It adds up. And the thing people worry about, oh, it'll take too long or the clothes will be stiff, there are easy fixes. Hanging a load takes 5 to 10 minutes, then it just dries itself. For stiffness, especially with towels, give them a good shake before hanging, or do a quick 5-minute tumble on low heat at the end. Barely costs anything.
Right, so you don't have to go completely cold turkey on the dryer.
No, not at all. It's about being smarter with it, not giving it up entirely. Oh, and one more thing. A retractable clothesline in the garden costs about 20 to 50 pounds, and there are typically 150 to 200 suitable drying days a year in Britain. Using that instead of the dryer on those days saves 50 to 100 pounds annually.
150 to 200 days? That's more than I would have thought.
Yeah, people always underestimate how many usable days there are. It's not just the blazing hot ones that count, remember? Low humidity and a bit of wind, you're golden.
Okay, so let me try and pull this together. The big takeaways are: use something like the cost-effective drying day planner to check weather and energy prices at the start of the week. Air dry whenever conditions allow, and remember, it's about humidity and wind, not just sunshine. For indoor drying, pick the right room, keep things ventilated, maybe invest in a dehumidifier or a heated airer. And at the washing machine end, cold water, full loads, highest spin speed you can.
That's it. That's basically the whole thing. Small, consistent changes. And if you need the tumble dryer, use it during off-peak hours. Many suppliers offer rates 30 to 50% cheaper at night. Running it at 11 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. could save you 40p per load. It all adds up to $100 to $200 a year in savings for most families.
Love it. Assad, thank you. That was genuinely really helpful.
Thanks, Angela. Start with the planner, honestly. 5 minutes on a Sunday evening. It's the easiest win.
Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially free ways to slash your energy bills this winter, home insulation ROI guide, and calculating your true renewable energy ROI.
Exactly. And reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like Cost-Effective Drying Day Planner right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include Energy Saving Trust and Which tumble dryer running costs, so you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this cost-saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try Cost-Effective Drying Day Planner, Then read free ways to slash your energy bills this winter and use them together to take action today.